Hey everyone, we're back at the casual couch and I have a lot of rage. You've seen YouTubers saying, I did it, I found the worst book. And yeah, they found some pretty bad ones, but this book is flown under the radar and I just have a lot of anger about it. It has so many 5-star reviews and I just do not understand. Maybe at the end of this I'll read some of those 5-star reviews so we can talk about that, but like, I am here with no makeup on and my acne and my cats are here so we can talk about this book. I didn't even write notes. I'm just gonna let the anger flow through me like a true Sith. There we go, that's better. So what the heck is this book? I just picked it up because I was like, I'm in the mood for a thriller. I'm gonna go on, again, my library's Overdrive app, and I'm just gonna look for thrillers that are available now. And here was this one, and I was like, okay, escape room. Escape room, that sounds fun. I want a thriller where people are trapped in an escape room. And that is not even really what this is. This is so bad. By the way, I'm going to spoil everything, so get ready for that, because normally I wouldn't tell people not to read a book. I would be like, if you want to go read it, and I still won't tell you not to, but just watch this instead is my advice to you. So the book has 3 sort of different points of view. We have omniscient narrator for the people who are trapped in the escape room. We have omniscient narrator for the people who are doing business in like this office building of evil. And we have first-person narrator for a woman named Sarah, who you don't even really know why we're getting her point of view until the end of the book. So we jump back and forth in this book between time periods. You know, we have Sarah getting a job at this evil investment banking place. I'm just gonna call it the business, because it's just business. A bunch of rich fucks in suits saying business things every now and then. And she's getting a job there. She used to be a waitress, but she went to school for this, so she's getting a job there. And then we have a middle section where Sarah has the job there. And also we are jumping forward in time to when a bunch of the business executive types are trapped in an escape room, which is made to be like an elevator. It's an elevator escape room, and they think they have been sent there as a team building exercise, but that is not in fact why they are in the escape room. I don't even really know how to explain this book because it has done everything wrong, in my opinion. Everything. Plot, characters, craft. Nothing is done right or well. We get to know some of these characters who are mostly all evil fuckheads except for one woman who is on the spectrum, and I keep making quotes because it's never completely clear if she is or she isn't. Everybody says that she is, but is she really? We don't know. If she is, though, she is the idiot savant trope, which I hate, because she's like super good at numbers, but also she's like kind of socially inept. And eventually we find out much later in the book that she was assaulted in an elevator by her evil colleagues, and then she was killed. And it was made to look like a suicide. But we have read thrillers before, so we don't think for even a minute that she actually committed suicide. Like, that was never an option. And she was sort of low-key friends, like, more like acquaintances. They hung out a couple times with Sarah, our, like, viewpoint character in some of the chapters. And that all leads up to an ending that is absolutely the worst. The worst thing I have read in a long time. So bad, though, it was hilarious. I was laughing, and I was texting my friends, like, you won't believe what this book did now. Like, the only reason I finished this is because they were like, no, keep going. We need to know what the fuck with this book. So I'm going to talk a little bit about its very glaring flaws, and then I'll talk about that ending. Pacing. Who's he? Never heard of him, according to this book. It starts out so slowly with, you know, getting to know all of the people in the business, some of which don't even matter, most of which don't even matter. I can't keep them straight. We get Sarah, before she gets the job, applying for the job. We have, like, it must have, I listened to this, but it must have been actual, like, pages. It was almost a chapter just of Sarah figuring out what she was going to wear for this job. Because, I don't know how this happened, but I thought when I was listening that this was written by a man, because it was very reminiscent of Men Writing Women, you know, r/Men Writing Women. It was so reminiscent of that. You know, it was like, what are her nipples doing? And like, how do her legs look? And it's just like, stop it. At one point when she goes for an interview with a different company, somehow, like the guy interviewing her has turned up the AC so the interview room is very cold so he can see her nipples, which are somehow showing through her bra, her shirt, and her like suit jacket. I just don't understand how. We turned it into a joke, my friends and I, of razor nipples, and that we should really weaponize our razor nipples more. Why aren't we doing it? It's a real waste of our super powerful nipples. So there's that. But yeah, pacing, and then the end, which we will talk about, just like, and we're done. This book also almost felt like the author just had the idea for the escape room part, but realized that that wasn't long enough to be a whole book, and so just padded it out with pointless scene after pointless scene of these douchebags thinking about their money, their mistresses, their wives with expensive tastes, just wallowing around with rich people. And if you're with the guys, they're all thinking about women and sleeping with prostitutes and ogling every woman who comes along, and if you're with the women, they are thinking about how hard it is to be a woman in the workplace, but none of them actually ever do or say anything about it. It's like the most frustrating book that I have ever read. And most of the time, the women just tolerate it. They're like, oh, I know he's staring at my ass in this elevator, but it's fine. It's just the way the world works. And it's like, you know what I would rather follow? A character who gives a fuck about herself and, like, doesn't let people treat her like crap. I know I'm not in business. I am but a lowly grunt. But, like, no. Let's just segue into characters, shall we? And I feel really bad about this because at the end of the book there was an interview by this author's agent to this author. And the agent had, you know, his prepared questions, and one of them was like, how do you create such vivid characters? And this author like talked about how these characters were all so real for her and everything, and I was like, maybe they're real for you, but you have not succeeded in putting any of that on the page. I couldn't tell these fucking people apart. They were all the exact same flat business asshole. Every single damn one of them. Every now and then they'd be like, oh, this character began to feel the fear of that he's always had since childhood of being in confined spaces. And then it wouldn't go anywhere or matter at all. It's like every now and then they might have a personality trait, but it didn't matter, it didn't come up, and you'd forget who had it a page later because these weren't people. And like, I know that she was trying to write dislikable characters, but they weren't even characters. It's like she drew chalk stick figures on the walls of the elevator and called them human beings. Even Sarah, whose head we were in, I couldn't tell you a damn thing about her, except for that she knows how to waitress. And everything was told to us. Told. Like, if you want a book that is all tell, if you want to know what that sounds like, listen to this book or read this book. Because this is all tell. There were like, probably I could count on one hand the number of times we were shown anything. And it was so repetitive. I guess we're getting into craft now. It was so repetitive. Many times this book treated you like you were stupid and couldn't figure things out. Like, they were overheating in the elevator, so everyone was taking their shirts off. And then the book kept reminding you. And at one point, the only female in the elevator had laid down with her head on the bare chest, it said, on his bare chest of one of the guys. And then they all woke up, and like literally a paragraph later it said he had taken his shirt off because it was hot. And I was like, I know, she was just lying on his bare chest. I have not had a stroke and forgotten in between the last paragraph where you told me that he was shirtless and now. And there was another instance with laptops where it was so repetitive. it said they all took out their laptops to kind of, and this is where I wish I had the actual physical book, but I listened to everything. They took out their laptops to kind of cover for the fact that they were like nervous to be trapped in this elevator, and they're all like trying to get work done. And it tells us this at least twice in slightly different ways about a paragraph apart. And I was like, was this book edited? I need to know. Did an editor ever look at this book and get rid of this stupid repetition? My beta readers would not let me get away with this kind of crap. Did anyone look at this book? My anger is distressing the dog. I'll be right back. She's stressing out.
Speaking of things my betas would have caught, another thing that drove me crazy in this book, they're all trapped in this elevator, and for like a day and a half, they're all sweating balls. They're all going to get dehydrated, right? Now, they probably won't die of dehydration, but it's going to start to be unpleasant. But we solve this by having one of the characters have a bottle of water with him, like his workout bottle of water, which we are specifically not told how big it is, so that he can continually share out capfuls, again, we're not told how big the cap is, of water to his companions so they don't get dehydrated. Now, I know, if you beta read for me, you definitely know that none of my betas would ever let me get away with something so vague. Like, the reason that this water bottle, we're not told how big it is specifically so we can never question how much water is left in it. Because I feel like there would be out of water. But how do I know? The water bottle might be huge. I hate it.
Okay, I'm back. The plot was all over the place. The characters were flat. The writing was bad. But I think we're ready to get on to this ending. I knew it was going to be like the worst thing I'd ever heard, but I just didn't quite understand what I was in for. So, I for the whole book, I couldn't quite figure out why Sarah was there, because she wasn't really an important part of this story, but we were in her viewpoint a lot. I was like, maybe to introduce us to this business. But, you know, the book just told us all about it and all the people who were there, so, like, why do we need Sarah? Not to show us, this book isn't interested in that. It takes at least halfway through the book, I'm pretty sure, for the plot to actually start, where the supposedly potentially autistic woman is killed. And Sarah kind of knew her. So Sarah gets in touch with the woman's mother, and they low-key bond, and Sarah gets to have some of her dead friend's possessions, you know, given to her, and she gets her hands on the dead person. I don't remember her name because it, like, doesn't matter. None of it matters. None of these people are people. Even the one who died, I can't feel bad for her because even she wasn't a person. Like, she got a character trait. She liked to draw. That was, like, the only person who even had one. So at least there was that. Sarah gets a hold of her diary, and when she's reading through this diary, she finds a page that she can't understand. And then she's like, wait, struck with this brilliant idea, and holds it up to a mirror and is like, as I suspected, it was mirror writing. And I'm like, I can identify backwards letters. Like, they made it seem like it was this galaxy brain revelation that she realized it was backwards writing. But I was like, I can recognize backwards letters. It would be very easy for me to be like, oh, it's backwards. Hold it up to a mirror, you know? But no, giant Sherlockian deduction there. And she finds out that dead girl was assaulted in an elevator. And she, for some reason, Sarah decides, I will go to my boss, but I will not bring the diary, nor will I photocopy pictures of the diary to show to my boss. I will simply go there and say, my friend was assaulted and I saw proof of it. And the boss is like, okay, well, do you have this proof? Because, you know, he's a business guy. He's not just going to believe her. And she was like, I saw the diary once. For some reason, plot, she didn't even admit to having the diary. She just said that she saw it one time. And so she has absolutely no evidence, and therefore the boss is like, well, my hands are tied. She probably lied about it, because, you know, business guy, he's evil. And then the bad people in the business find out that Sarah knows, and they phase her out. They just basically start doing things to get her fired, rewriting her reports so they're wrong, telling her that her stuff is bad, and just eventually they get her fired. They're evil. And so Sarah is completely destroyed. She's lost this big job. Her parents, whose healthcare she's been paying for, die. Her fiance leaves her, although that was kind of her fault because she decided not to tell him that she lost the job for like weeks, and then he was like, "You've been lying to me," and that's why he left her, not because she lost her job. So a lot of this is kind of Sarah's fault. A little bit. Like, I don't know if that's victim blaming, but a little bit it's Sarah's fault because she went about this in a really stupid way every step of the way. But then Sarah suddenly becomes hyper competent. So she goes from this kind of hapless idiot to all of a sudden this Machiavellian genius. She's like, never mind, I'm going to get my revenge. And somehow, I forget how, she also found out that the evil people, the specific evil people who hurt the dead girl, are also part of this, like, money laundering schemey thing that I think they call the Circle. Very creative. And she's like, I'm gonna get back at them, I'm gonna avenge so-and-so's death, and I'm also gonna steal all of their ill-gotten gains. How am I gonna do that in, like, the last quarter or less of the book? Well, I'll tell you, and by tell I mean yes, tell. It's all just told to you. She goes somewhere else, I forget where, and she gets a job as a waitress because she does have those skills, and then she just like spends all her time and money learning how to act like a different person. So she dyes her hair, she learns how to do makeup, she takes an acting class so she can learn how to affect the mannerisms of another person so she won't look like herself, which, by the way, I don't know if they'd actually like teach you so much in an acting class. I feel like she probably also learned a bunch of stuff that she didn't need, like how to recite Shakespeare really well. Anyway, that's not important. So she does all these things to hide her identity. She uses the money somehow from her waitressing job to get an identity change that she like pays for. And then she gets a different job with an elevator repair company where she starts going into the field and learning about elevators so that she can create this elevator-themed escape room to trap these bad people in and then give them clues about each other being bad and traitorous until they kill each other in the elevator escape room. Meanwhile, she sits miles away in a hotel room, occasionally pressing enter on a laptop, giving them the next clue about each other. And it's just, what? Like, I cannot do justice to the absurdity of this thing that is told to us at the end. Like, I might not even mind if we actually watch Sarah do any of this stuff. Like, let's see her struggles with the acting. Let's see her struggles with trying to look like another person. But no, and let's see her work out this plan of how she's going to set up this trap. No, we're just told that she did it. It's fine. She just did it. This is what happened. Don't ask questions. And of course it works, and pretty much all the evil people are dead. And then Sarah disguises herself as one of the evil people, because one of them happened to be a woman, thank goodness. And Sarah disguises herself as her, goes to her bank, happens to have gotten a scan of this woman's retina so that she can get a contact lens that perfectly mimics Evil Lady's retina, so she can do a retinal scan to get bars of gold and bonds out of this lady's like safety deposit box at her bank, and then go and live a rich, happy life on the beach. What the hell is this book? What the hell? And like, again, I might be here for that level of absurdity if we weren't just told that she did it all. No flaws, no issues, it's the last little section of the book and she just does it at the end. I would much rather have spent our time watching her do that than hang around learning the personalities of all the evil business people. And by personalities, I mean learning about their second homes and their spoiled wives and how much they are suffering as rich fucks. Okay, so this is like one of, if not the worst book I have ever read. Definitely the worst book I've read so far this year, but it is right now only February, so like I started listening to a Stephen King book. I'm not even a King fan, I was just interested in this book after finishing Escape Room, and it was like listening to fucking Shakespeare, to hear a writer who at least tangentially knows what the crap they're doing with words. I mean, I guess I feel a little bit encouraged because if this monstrosity can get published, maybe I can too. So I've got candy, we're gonna go on Goodreads and we're gonna see some 5-star reviews and see what people are saying about this. This first 5-star review on the list says that this person has read many psychological thrillers, and they still gave this one 5 stars? I don't understand. Megan Golden has spun a novel that brings light to the dog-eat-dog world of corporate finance, where greed and corruption is rife, where if you don't have the necessary killer instinct, you will be chewed up and spat out. I mean, maybe they're all despicable people if they were people and not chalk drawings. They're all very despicable chalk drawings. I can't see... Like, this first 5-star doesn't really have any concrete things that they liked. It's more just like, it was great! This person says, a fascinating page-turner, totally a book I cannot put down. Too many puzzles, too many questions, too many twists. Where? They get a couple of puzzles in the escape room that are, like, either pointless for us to try to solve or very easy to solve. But because they're not actually escaping the room, they're just being pitted against each other, they're not even engaging puzzles. A lot of people are praising the fact that this book is full of dislikable characters. And again, if they were actual characters and not just flat, one-dimensional lists of bad things, maybe. But, like, they're all so poorly written. Again, mostly what I'm getting from this is that people really like the despicable characters of high-stakes corporate finance. And I'm just going to sound like a broken record. I could get behind despicable characters if they had any personality. If they weren't just a list of bad things. And, like, everyone's like, oh, we hate this list. Like, they're so bad because this book told us all of these horrible things that they're doing. And maybe it's just me, but I want more than that from any human person. And I've never been in, like, that level of corporate America or whatever, and I know that that's a thing. Like, people really like that. There are a lot of TV shows like that where it's all about the greed and bad people and fighting for everything that you want on a completely different level from what we're used to down here in the dirt. But A, that's not my kind of thing, and B, this book gave it no chance to become my kind of thing because it was the most poorly written thing ever. They say that this book is the epitome of a painstakingly planned long game. Are they talking about Sarah's long game? Because she just, like, did some real random shit, and it would have been a lot more fun to watch her do that shit and play the long game and maybe not reveal to us why she's doing it and the connection between her and the elevator people. Fewer scenes of them talking about their rich person problems and ogling women, and more scenes of Sarah actually doing the revenge. Pretty sure I just found a review that is copy-pasted from another review, so that's not cool, whichever one of you copy-pasted from the other. Alright, I'm already done. A lot of 4 stars, many 5 stars. Even the people who didn't like it still gave it 2 stars, and I just don't understand. Now, maybe my taste in books is just so widely different from whatever this was that I just don't get it, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I found it to be absolutely terrible in every single way. So that was my rant. I hope you enjoyed it. We have fun, don't we? Let me go back to my normal, only slightly evil self. Hopefully the next book that I read will be far more enjoyable. Don't forget that I have lots of book reviews here on my channel. Some of them rants, some of them not. Many of them not. I post new videos Mondays and Fridays. If you liked what you saw here and you want to support it monetarily, you can hop on over to Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive videos not seen here on the regular channel. All the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo for ease of your clicking, and I will see you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!
Well, look at that. It's time for this month's patrons. This month we have Lennox, Amanda, Jenny, Jesper, Kim, Lisa, Ryakio, Sabby Panda, Sarah, Savvy, and Scribbling Cat. As usual, you guys, you rock my socks off.